Oh, let's go. What a week, you guys. What a week for the USMNT top 10. A lot of our big boys standing and delivering a great week. Last week was awful, which, it can happen usually after an international break, especially players who play outside Europe because they've got long travels and sometimes they arrive a day or two before the game. So either they have poor performances or they get benched. So I'm going to chalk it down to that because this week was very, very good. And maybe definitely the best one so far this season. Maybe the best one this year, to be honest. Pulisic, especially coming in really clutch. Pulisic, guys, last season, he had a very good season, right? 25 goal contributions, still great. There was, allegations of being a small team killer because he never really scored or assisted against the really big teams. And now, in 1 week, the man has great solo goals, not just goals, solo goals against both Liverpool and Inter Milan. So I think it's safe to say the allegations of being a small team killer are dead in the water. Very interesting comment here from Jar, who says, "Hey, Pete, can you give a spoiler of where Jordan Morris, who scored a brace, will be on the top 10? Excellent question, Mr. Jar. I'm sure you're trolling. This is called the USMNT top 10, not the former USMNT top 10 or the fraud USMNT top 10. This is for the actual USMNT top 10. So Jordan Morris is not included. Generally speaking, MLS goals do not rank very highly in the top 10. And you mostly only have a shot if you're a young player. Pulisic, low key, carrying Milan. I know, right? What does he have now? 7 goal contributions on the season, or is it 6? Let me double check that. I think it's 7. Or no, it's 6. But 6 and 6. Yeah, 6 goal contributions in 6 games for Christian Pulisic. My guy Pulisic is absolutely destroying it. So when Poch calls in Jordan Morris, he'll be in the mud. No, if Poch calls in Jordan Morris, which he will not, then we'll put him back in the top 10. But Jordan Morris hasn't played for the national team for more than a year now. So he's not a national team player. Same with Jesus Ferreira, right? These guys are not USMNT level players. Let's see. Jordan only right foot Morris. Jordan only try hard, run fast Jordan Morris. He's not even that fast anymore. He just looks fast in MLS because defending is optional in the Mickey Mouse League. All right. Let us dive in. But before we do, where does the game start, guys? I still use BetOnline. Believe is the code. Here is Brendan Aronson, who makes the top 10 this week for a assist against Cardiff. Now, I'll say this. He didn't actually have that great of a game if you watch it, and the stats do back that up. He had the 1 assist, so he kind of snuck low-key into the top 10. He was fighting Diego Luna for that top 10 spot. Yes, guys, like the video, says AR. You think Pulisic is the American GOAT, which I believe he is, like the video, okay? And if you're new, smash subscribe. So Brendan Aronson just snuck in the top 10. It was between him and Luna. Luna actually played a better game overall on top of his goal, but it is MLS, so I just gave the edge to Brendan Aronson, but it was close, okay? He played 90 minutes against Cardiff, who, by the way, Cardiff benched Ethan Horvath for a second week in a row after a poor start to the season. If you're sitting on the bench in the championship as a goalkeeper, just come back to MLS, dude. I get that. Look, I can admire the tenacity and wanting to stay, in Europe and push yourself. But at some point, this is his prime, right? The dude is 29 years old. And he always looks like a deer in headlights in goal. And he's not great with his feet, doesn't inspire confidence. Dude, it's over, man. And for the USMNT, it should definitely be over. He shouldn't even be in the top 3 right now, to be honest. Just go back to MLS and play pull a Zach Steffen. Cardiff played 90 minutes. So yeah, played 90 minutes, got 1 assist, 1 big chance missed, 0 out of 7 ground duels won, which was a match high or match low, depending on how you want to put it. 3 out of 5 aerial duels won and 2 fouls committed. And also, this was the assist. It was a nice little pass but it's not like it was, you know, this amazing assist or anything. It was a good little ball in behind for his teammate to then score from a tight angle. But other than that, he didn't have the best of games, enough to sneak into the top 10, but not the best of games. Caden Clark from Club de Foot Montreal now has 2 goals in 3 games, still just 21 years old. Clark has gone missing for the last couple of years and seems to be sort of resurrecting his career with Club de Foot. So we'll see how he does. But played 89 minutes against Chicago Fire. His underlying stats were not great. I didn't watch the game. I watched the highlights and I looked at his underlying stats, apart from the 3 fouls drawn. But his goal was a very nice goal. He was played in behind. Goalkeeper comes off his line and then manages to chip the keeper. So a really nice chip of the keeper, which, okay, it's Chris Brady, right? So, you don't want to see that from Chris Brady, but good for him. It wasn't, I think the quality of this goal, the composure on the goal is what really sneaks him into the top 10 so far. Chicago Fire, what a terrible week for the Fire. It gets rumored by, fairly reputable sources that Greg Berhalter is going to take over not only as head coach, but as general manager. So they're giving a lot of power to a big fat loser, or should I say tall, skinny loser. They're giving him a lot of power if they make him their GM, the way that Peter Vermees has at Sporting KC. Considering Berhalter's record of being absolute dog shit wherever he went, that's a lot of power to give him. But this is the Chicago Fire, and we must never underestimate their capacity for terrible decision making. It's like when the right thing to do is so obvious, right? And the wrong thing to do is even more obvious. The Chicago Fire, whether it's Joe Mansueto or Chris Heitz or whatever other absolute morons run that organization, they will choose the wrong decision every single time. And that is, doubling down with Greg Berhalter. We know we've been a dumpster fire for 10 plus years. Let us find this failure of a coach and terrible human being just because he happens to have a house in Chicago. Let's just give him all the power in the world to change the way that America views Michigan soccer. Lake Michigan soccer. All right, so that is his goal. I will read all the chats. Don't worry, guys. Number 8, coming in pretty clutch, was John Tolkien. I really actually enjoyed this game between the Red Bulls and Atlanta. There was a nice Javier Puches, Pete blessing us with another Chicago Fire rant. Yes, I do those on the regular basis. Against Atlanta United, played 90 minutes, had 1 assist, 5 chances created, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 3 out of 12 accurate crosses, so not great with the crossing, but he had space to cross. 6 out of 7 ground duels won, 5 out of 7 accurate long balls, 0 out of 2 aerial duels, and 2 fouls drawn. He also took a lot of set pieces and corners for the Red Bulls. This was his assist. It actually came off the corner, puts the corner in. They head it back out. He's the first one to it, and he cuts it home for Dante Van Zier to score. So well done to John Tolkien. There was rumors of John Tolkien being wanted by a Bundesliga team this summer, but it looks like he will be leaving the Red Bulls this winter. And to be honest, it's beyond time to go. He's 22 years old now. He's, I don't think, an elite prospect, but he is fighting Wiley and Lund for that backup spot to Anthony Robinson for right now, and possibly Kevin Paredes whenever he comes back from injury, right? So I think he's going to have to go to Europe the way that Wiley did and improve as a player, right? I thought he had a decent Olympics, but I think if he really wants to push himself and become a better player, he's got to get out of MLS at this point. He's been in MLS for 5 years now, and there's kind of a tipping point with MLS where you start to stagnate if you don't push. And I think this really might be the tipping point for John Tolkien. Time for him to go. But nice assist for him. He makes it in the top 10 as 8th. De Oliveira 20 just says Peter. Not sure. Gabriel Fernandez. Hey, Pete, any update on Luca De La Torre? Injured. He's got an ankle injury. He's supposed to be out until October sometime, but we don't know exactly when. Anthony Booker, Pete's Chicago Fire rants equal to Angry Joe's Madden game rants. I think my rants are even better. Shadowfact says Triple G def gonna employ bounce passes as a core stat toward making the Fire a worse team. Prepare for the signing of Leggett and Long. Oh my God, can you imagine if Greg Berhalter goes to the Fire and he's like, I need all of these guys. He gets Shaq Moore, gets Miles Robinson, Aaron Long, gets Sam Vines from Chicago, brings in Jackson Ewell from San Jose and Will Trapp both. He gets Jordan Morris, Christian Roldan, Sebastian Leggett, and Paulie Nips. Paulie Nips. It's going to be fun to watch the Chicago Fire. All right, so Julian Zaruski Hall has quietly been pulling through, actually, in MLS at just age 16. He is only 16 years old. He is a striker. There was interest on from Dortmund, I believe, on him, but before he signed with the Red Bulls. He is in that under 17 age group. And I want to talk about the under 17 age group because it's quite a promising one compared to our U20s. He's not American cap, but he has played for our youth teams. Okay. So against Atlanta United, he only played 26 minutes, but he came in, he passed the eye test. I was watching this. I actually didn't turn this game on until he came on. Played 26 minutes, got 1 assist, created 2 chances, 2 passes into the final third, 2 out of 2 accurate crosses, 2 out of 2 ground duels, 1 and 1 foul drawn. So he was very, very good. He looked very good against Atlanta United. This was the assist. Cross comes in from the right. They cleared it poorly. I don't remember which one it was. One of the Atlanta defenders cleared it quite poorly. He makes a run into the box, and as he's being hounded, one touches it with his weak foot into Manuel to get the equalizer to make it 2-2 for Atlanta United. So well done to Julian Hall. Let me talk about this under 17 age group. Anybody watch the U20s in the CONCACAF qualifiers? They did not look very good. Now, to be fair, they were missing a lot of players. Diego Cochin, Gavin Beavers, Matai Akimboni was a guy they were missing for sure. Noah Cobb over Atlanta United. Grayson DeToni over at Bayern Munich. Personally, I think Peyton Miller has a higher ceiling as a left back than, Nolan Norris, but whatever. If you look at the U20s, really the high ceiling prospects that you go, they could be elite is pretty much Diego Cochin and Pedro Soma. And then you have some center backs like Noah Kai Banks, Matai Akimbani. It's sort of TBD on them. But, the rest of that U20 group, it doesn't look very promising. Now, doesn't mean there won't be 1 or 2 elite players from there, but you can see the players and you can see the tool sets, and there's maybe some Brendan Aaronsons in there. Maybe a Kevin Paredes. But generally, I haven't been really impressed with the U20 age group, particularly the guys that are actually playing for the U20s. But if you drop down to the U17s, that's where I think the 08s, 09s are really a promising group. Just off the top of my head, and I'm sure there are more that I've missed, you've got guys like Julian Hall, Kevin Sullivan, we will see, Mathis Albert, who's now at Dortmund, Jack Mize, what's his name? The kid at NYC, Maximo Carrizo, Peyton Miller, who's now breaking through with the New England Revolution. So it is quite an interesting group, and there may be, it's very early to tell at the U17 level, but there may be some elite prospects in that group. So keep an eye on those U17s. Heard Figueroa was training with the first team. So Keiro Figueroa trained a little bit with the first team during the international break. That's very common. When they don't have enough players to make up training because so many are gone, they bring in some academy kids to train. It doesn't really mean he's close to a first team debut. It pretty much just means they needed kids from the academies to make up the numbers. I mean, it's promising for sure to get in front of the first team staff, but it's not like he wasn't in the first team training because they believe he's close to a first team, appearance. Number 6, Christopher Richards, for Crystal Palace, shook off a very poor international break. with a strong performance against Manchester United at Crystal Palace. Played 90 minutes, helped Crystal Palace to keep a clean sheet. Now, sure, Manchester United is not the club they used to be, but it was overall what I thought was a pretty promising performance. Had 2 passes into the final third, 2 out of 5 tackles won, 5 out of 6 ground duels won, and 0 out of 2 aerial duels won. Not a perfect performance by any means, but certainly something to build on. He needs to be consistent with Crystal Palace, but more than anything, Chris Richards needs to start performing for the national team, because his Crystal Palace form and his national team form do not seem to be congruent in any way, shape, or form. So he's a bit on fraud watch when it comes to the national team right now, Richards. And sometimes he just seems a little bit too casual and a little bit too slow. And I will never forget a high-ranking senior official at US Soccer once told me about Chris Richards. And he wasn't complimenting his skill set or his play or any. It was like, he's a really fun guy. I mean, he is entertaining to watch. He is funny. He makes people laugh. And I was just standing there like, dude, I don't give a fuck. Like, I want a player who shows up for the national team. I don't give a shit how entertaining he is in the dressing room. Like, McKennie's entertaining. That has almost nothing to do with how they perform. So, American soccer culture, we still need to work on it. Number 5, Folarin Balogun of AS Monaco finally gets his first goal of the season, and I hope that will give him a confidence boost. Playing against Le Havre, played 90 minutes, got 1 goal, 1 chance created, 1 out of 2 successful dribbles, 2 out of 5 ground duels won, 0 out of 5 aerial duels won. Remember when Berhalter had us crossing aerial balls to Balogun? Dude is not good in the air. Don't use him that way. Come on, Greg. It'll be interesting to see how Pochettino uses him. This is the goal. I mean, it's not like a golazzo or an amazing goal, but it's a smart finish. Was played in behind well, made the run, shook his defender, finished nicely. We have seen him miss those at times. So hopefully this will be good for his confidence. Sometimes, especially for strikers, they're very confidence driven. That things are not, when you're not scoring, your confidence goes, and then the stuff that you're usually good at starts to fall off because it's a mental thing, right? You have to take a Menti D, as the kids are saying these days. And sometimes just getting that 1 goal back really gives you that boost that you need. That's why sometimes if someone's struggling and they're 3-4 goals up, though, we let them take a penalty, even if they're not the official penalty taker. Like Tammy Abraham for Milan did that, last week. They got an extra penalty. It was like, give it to him so he can get his confidence up. So hopefully this does something for Balogun, but it is good to see him on the score sheet. Bay Area Blues. No one says that, little bro. Get your ass on TikTok, big bro. And, if you're calling me little bro, that means you got to be at least in your 40s. So I imagine you're not too clued in. Weston McKennie is not number 5. He's number 4 against PSV Eindhoven. It was a good week for Weston McKennie. He's still not quite fit. Okay. I still think there's work to do there for McKennie, but certainly I thought he did well. Played 75 minutes against PSV Eindhoven, scored a goal, and actually looked pretty okay against Eindhoven. 0 out of 1 successful dribbles, 1 out of 1 accurate long balls, 1 out of 5 ground duels won, 0 out of 1 aerial duels won. But he did well enough against PSV that they brought him back against this weekend against, was it Bologna? No. Who did they play this weekend? I don't remember who they played this weekend. And he still looks a little overweight. I'm not going to lie. But he, did he get lucky with the goal? Yes. Yes, he did. The goal dropped to him. Still, he finished it nicely. And I thought overall from the eye test, I actually thought he played quite well. He was not that good on the weekend. Napoli. Thank you, Jasper. Napoli. Against Napoli, I didn't think he was that great. So we'll see if he starts in midweek or not. But, you get a goal in the Champions League, you will probably make your way onto the top 10. So good for Weston. Got 2 starts. Ball sort of fell to him somewhat luckily, and then he finished smartly. But again, I actually thought the real positive from this game was that he looked good. He played that midfield role quite well against PSV. Not so much against Napoli. And there is a difference between, an Eredivisie team and a, Serie A team. Gianluca Busio. Speaking of Italian Americans or Italian teams, I've been very, very impressed. I was somewhat impressed with his Olympic performance before he got injured, but I've been really impressed with Busio to start the season with Venezia. This is a club where he's having to work very hard to avoid relegation. He looked very good for them against Milan last weekend, and this week against Genoa. I'm not being hyperbolic. He looked like the best player on the field. He did look like the best player on the field. He dominated that game. Winning the penalty and the sort of accidental goal aside, every time he got the ball, he looked dangerous. He was playing as a pure 10, a creator. But Pete, the 10 is dead. We must play 4-3-3 with box-to-box runners. The 10 is very much alive and well, and Busio has been doing a really good job of this to start the season. So really, really happy for him. If he continues playing like this, he should be pushing Tillman and Gio at the 10. He's not a 6. He can play as an 8 because defensively he's also gotten a lot better. It looks like he's bulked up a little bit on the offseason, and he's not getting pushed off the ball that much. He is a guy who I've complained in the past and criticized him rather about being too passive on both sides of the ball. He was always a technical player, and you could see that he had vision, and you could see that he had the ability to play balls in behind, but he was so passive at times and safe with his passing. And then he wasn't always very active defensively either. And so that didn't help his case, but he stayed in Europe. He pushed himself. He's, gotten better. He was very good in the Italian second division. And the big question was then, well, how's this going to translate now to Serie A? So far, very, very good. 80s nostalgia guy saying Tyler Adams out for the rest of the year. What? Who's saying this? Is that like news? New news? Or are you just saying that? Because last I heard it was 1 or 2 months and he was supposed to be back in October. Let's see. I don't know, man. But yeah, good for Busio. This was the penalty. Jinxed his way into the box, got pushed. Fair penalty. This was the goal. Now, the goal was something of an accident, right? He was trying to cross it to this player here. Instead, the player didn't get to it. It bounced and it rolled into it sort of bounced into the net. Terrible keeping. Everybody was caught off guard. And so, yeah, it was an accident. But again, he makes it into the top 3 really because of his performance. And anybody who watched that game, which, I'm sure some of you did, was very impressed by Busio. The Wolfster, Pifok has not been part of the national team for more than a year. So he's not really in line to be there, okay? Like, you have to at least be somewhat part of the national team to be considered for the USMNT or be a young player with potential. So there's no Pifok. I know he got an assist. That's great. He's not really, Jesus Ferreira got an assist too. Should we put him in? No, not really a national team level player. This is fascinating from Atai Abdallah. Yes, group him in with the other overrated scrubs in Reina and Tillman. Tillman has been one of PSV's best attackers for the last season and a half. So it's interesting that you use the word overrated, Mr. Atai Abdallah. Do you even watch soccer? One can't get on the pitch and gets injured whenever he does. So which is it? Either he can't get on the pitch or he gets injured when he's on the pitch. How does he injure himself on the pitch if he's not on it? Reina's, getting injured again was terrible timing, but he was completely healthy for a whole year before. So I'm not sure that qualifies. And the other puts up empty calorie numbers against terrible competition. Interesting. Atai woke up today and chose violence. Are any of these guys Lionel Messi? No. Are there concerns with Reina's injury? Yes. Can Tillman push himself and probably leave PSV Eindhoven next season? Yes. But celebrating the success of our guys at a good level is important. And maybe they're overrated because you overrate them, Atai. I don't know. I don't know, how you think people rate them. So, but it seems you're being a little bit exaggerated with some of this nonsense. So try to come up with something that actually has value instead of just going on an angry rant, says Pete, the guy who goes on angry rants every 3 minutes. So yes, that was Busio. Congratulations to him. Number 2, meaningless calorie scrub, as per Atai. 2 goals against Fortuna Sittard. 2 goals played 90 minutes. A very nice free kick. The first goal was, opportunistic. 3 chances created. I know it's meaningless calories, a tie, but try to bear with me. 3 out of 3 successful dribbles, which was a match high, and 3 out of 3 tackles won, which was also a match high. So well done to Malik Tillman. I think he's on 4 goal contributions on the season already. This was the opportunistic goal. It came off a corner. It bounced well for him, and he, did well to finish it. But this was really the nice goal, a good free kick. And Max Britos will try to tell you that we must bring Georgi Mihailovic into the national team for his free kick prowess, while ignoring that, Pulisic, Busio, Reyna, and now apparently Tillman can all take free kicks too. No point in bringing dead weight just because they can score a free kick from time to time. But it was good to see Malik Tillman playing so well. And Tack tweeted that he should probably leave PSV next season, and I agree. He should. I think, after 23 goal contributions last season, 16 in the Scottish League before that, he's on track to at least do 20 plus, 25 plus. And I think he needs to leave the Eredivisie. To Atai's point, now I don't agree with Atai, but Atai does make a point that, some of the competition isn't great for the level that he's at now. I think he can go play in a top 5 league, go back to Germany. I don't think he should go play for Bayern because I don't think he's a Bayern level player, but he could go play for a Gladbach or a Hoffenheim. I think that certainly should be the next step for him. Whether or not they're going to pay, PSV is the question. And I don't think he's really a Bayern level player yet, and probably maybe never will be, or maybe a rotational substitute for Bayern. But yeah, hopefully he has a strong season and maybe even leaves in, December or January. I'm sorry, if somebody is interested. But good for Malik. And last but certainly not least, you guys. The man himself, Christian Pulisic, beating the allegations with 2 great solo goals against Liverpool and Inter Milan. But Atai about to tell us that he's an overrated scrub because he didn't score a hat trick in every single game this season, and that he should, go play in USL where he belongs. Played 90 minutes against Liverpool, scored the goal. I mean, they lost the game, but scored the only goal. 2 chances created, 4 out of 4 accurate long balls, 2 out of 3 accurate crosses, 3 out of 4 ground duels won, and 1 foul drawn. And then against Inter, an even more impressive performance. Played 78 minutes, 1 goal. They actually won this game. What's his name? Not Tedesco. Fonseca, saving his job with this derby win, and it was away at Inter as well. 1 out of 1 accurate long balls, 3 out of 7 ground duels won, 0 out of 1 aerial duels won. But 2 great goals. He's really starting to remind me of lockdown Pulisic. This was against Liverpool. He ran half the pitch pretty much to go finish this off in the far corner. And then here against Inter, actually won the ball himself outside the box, beat 4 players on the dribble, and managed to get to ground to slide this home before it was blocked. So well done to Christian Pulisic. Shout out to a couple of guys who, had something to show, but, were not either, didn't quite make the top 10. Diego Luna got a goal and created 5 chances for Real Salt Lake. So, kudos to him. Jordan Pefok, even though he's not really part of the national team, did get an assist. I think he got injured at halftime, though, because he was performing well and then he got pulled at halftime. So that's 2 more. I guess you could say Jesus Ferreira got an assist for Dallas. So great. Good for him. I don't know if there were any more. I think there were those 3. Diego Luna, Christian Ramirez. I don't think he really counts, to be honest. I'm trying to think if there was anybody else, but I don't think there was. I think it was just those 3. Pefok and Luna and I guess Ferreira. Cole Campbell scored for the under 23s. LOL. Yeah, we're not going to go to academy level at this point. TSN Ranger says, I feel like Tillman would suit Stuttgart. Yeah, I can see that. This one we read, Pulisic low-key carrying Milan lately. Agreed. He's been their best player this season, on albeit a terrible start to the season for Milan. So like I said, the Wolfster, Pfalk doesn't really make it into the top 10 because he's not really part of the national team anymore. Pete, please tell us why Leggett is better than Pulley, MLS Sims. He's got more verticality. Also, he understands. He knows the MLS stadiums, which Pulisic does not. Bobby Hill in the house. What up, Bobby? Call-in show soon. My dad, Hank Hill, gets a crack out of the people who participate. Thanks for what you do. Here's the problem, guys. Here's the problem with the call-in shows. When I do them, we have two issues. A lot of people leave, telling me their interest in the call-in shows is very low, number one. And number two, the people who consistently cannot unmute themselves, making the show boring to watch, or people like coming in with troll takes. So I don't know about the call-in show. Like, there seems to be people want to do it, but then when we do it, 25% of the guys in the audience leave, so it's telling me it's not really that popular as a show. We'll see. Sources, but thank you, Bobby. Genesis says, sources, Greg Berhalter was a regular guest at P. Diddy's parties. He will join the Talk Twa podcast to react to the allegations. Oh, boy. I didn't tweet this out, but I did say, I probably shouldn't say this on YouTube. Yeah, I can't say it on YouTube because they're probably going to demonetize me. Anyone who doesn't Reina doesn't watch him play. And then Cubone Maker clarified, anyone who doesn't watch. Yeah, I don't think anybody doesn't rate Reina. I think the problem with Reina is that he's in a club where they have a guy ahead of him at the 10. And then, the injuries can be, worrying. I think anybody who doesn't rate Reina at this point simply doesn't know ball. But it doesn't mean the concerns about his PT and his, his injuries is not a valid concern. To be fair, whenever he plays for the national team, which he has done for the last year, he has showed up and showed out. And that's where I think the hype continues to, bless the timeline with Reina hype. Julian Vivas said, what do you think of Gaga getting scored on 7 times? I mean, as a third division club versus Manchester United. And Gaga was not good in that game. He made some mistakes, got caught off of his line several times. I don't really get the Gaga hype. I mean, yes, he's a young player and the potential is there. But to go from the Belgian first division to League 1, which is the third division in England, playing at the same level as Wrexham, and honestly, still making mistakes and not looking great at times over there, it just doesn't fill me with confidence about his future. It really doesn't. And good for him for going out there and pushing himself, but I don't really think he's ready for the national team yet. And the only reason we're, I think, hyped about Gaga right now is that we don't have a lot of great options. Gaga is better than anyone else in our goalie pool. That is just not true. That is just not true, Wuxia Game Central. He's not. This guy is a third division level goalkeeper. And even then, he's so bad with his feet. Guys, I know you don't watch the Belgian league because it's not on ESPN Plus, and you probably don't watch Barnsley either because it's not anywhere to watch. But I have Y Scout, so I'm able to watch all the touches from his games, and it's not good. And I want him to be good. But I can't pretend that what I'm seeing is very good quality. Hopefully he figures it out. But I still have Matt Turner ahead of Gaga Slonina. I do. Among USMNT, call-in show today, Pete. Please celebrate Pulley goal. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to put a poll. Okay? And I need, how many people are we here? 306. If at least 150 people answer the poll saying that they want a call-in show, then we'll do one. But 150 have to go yes. Okay? Here we go. Boop. There's your poll. Go for it. If you want a call-in show, we need 150 to do a call-in show. No, not 130. 150 is half the chat. That's really nothing. Half the chat. So you guys decide. But overall, what a great weekend. And yes, guys, on tomorrow, the Patreon, we will have all these goals and assists and performance markers in video with commentary, not just this sort of flat drawings of the goal. So you guys, if you want to help, support the channel, it's $3 a month and you get access to a lot of cool extra content. Go check that out. Jasper Redican says, I like hearing the community's takes. Ashen B.A. Pillman, what's a call-in show? We do it on Discord where people can call in like a radio talk show. Let's see. So we have the poll results so far. Yes is 66%, but it's not showing. We have 64 votes so far, and only 65% of them are yes. So we would have to get a lot of votes in order to get 150 yeses. Otherwise, no. And guys, I'll say this now. If you want to do a call-in show, you got to stick around for it because there's no point. We have 300 guys in the chat. I go, let's do a call-in show, and 100 people leave, right? It's like, oh, well, clearly people are not that into it. Do I think Busio is similar to Pirlo? No, I think he's a different player altogether. I think Busio is a more advanced player who can play as a 10 or as an 8, whereas, Pirlo is more of a deep-lying playmaker. Libero. Jar says, call-in show. Get that vote. Get your vote in then. Get your vote in. But thank you. Do you think we get Koleosho? I don't know. I think it depends. There's a possibility we get him because Italy doesn't seem to rate him for the first team right now. They have him for their under 21s, and he's not even a starter for their under 21s. So I think if Pochettino invites him, it's a possibility we could get him. Yeah, I think there's definitely a possibility there. I don't think he's, a starter for us necessarily. I think he can fight Tim Weah for a spot, maybe. Pete, give us what you think Triple G's first 3 transfers into the Chicago Fire, like realistic transfers. I think he'll try to bring in a center back. I think he might try to get Miles because Miles, either Miles or Long. Walker Zimmerman ain't leaving Nashville. Miles, it could be a free agent if nobody wants him in Europe, which they didn't when he was a free agent last year. I don't see any difference now, except that he's going to be a year older. So Miles is a possibility that he could get him. Could he get Shaq Moore? I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him to try to get Shaq Moore, who he loves so dearly. He's already got Kellen Acosta there. So I'd say the 3 most likely would be Miles Robinson, because they don't really have a good right back. Miles Robinson, Shaq Moore, and probably some kind of an attacker. Leggett, maybe, who's not playing that much at Dallas. That would be my best guess. Oh, no. He might try to get Jesus Ferreira. Although I don't think Ferreira is going to leave Dallas to stay in MLS. He's already being paid a lot. Probably Leggett. I think Leggett, Miles, and Shaq might be his first. Let's take a look at the poll. We have only 83 votes, and only 60% of them are yes. So that's like 50 votes for the call-in show. We got to get 150 to do it. Weston has the strangest career. Comments? I don't think he has a strange career. He just needs to be disciplined and fit, and he's a good player. And he could start for Juve regularly if he was a focused, disciplined player, but he's not. And I don't think it's going to get any better as he gets older and his metabolism, slows down. What do you think? Okay, I'm about to come in with a hot take here. What do you think about Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher new show about U.S. soccer? It's called Soccer. Okay. All right. 2 legends of the English game mysteriously start a podcast 2 years before a home World Cup in America called It's Called Soccer. These 2 fine gentlemen, as wonderful careers as they have had as players and as broadcasters on various British outlets. And yes, I know Jamie Carragher is a CBS commentator. I'll be honest, I don't enjoy that CBS crew. I think Jamie Carragher and Mika Richards have this fake, like, funny man sort of like bar banter going that never seems genuine or real. It seems very put on. Titi Henry is smug and doesn't look like he wants to be there and thinks he's better than everybody around him. Literally, the only person that I enjoy watching on that show is Kate Abdo. So these guys bought the name It's Called Soccer from Jake, I guess, and they're pandering. They're pandering is what they're doing, right? It's like, oh, it's a grift. We know that, in 2 years, Americans are going to pay attention to soccer. Hopefully, they listen to two bloody. These guys don't know anything about U.S. soccer. They don't know anything about U.S. soccer. Maybe on the surface level, maybe, right? But they're just gonna. It's just a grift. It's like, it's called soccer. Look, we're British, and even we think it's called soccer. Listen to our podcast. I just fucking, it's a grift. I don't like it. I don't think they give a shit about American soccer. I think they are chasing an audience that, I promise you, after the World Cup, that It's Called Soccer show is going to mysteriously go away. So listen to it if you want. I won't be listening to it. Doesn't Jake have a pod with the same name? Yeah, he has a YouTube channel. I don't think he uploads very consistently, but they did buy the name from him because they wanted the name, because you got to pander. For an American to say It's Called Soccer is fine, right? If you for two Brits, like legendary Brits of the game, it's pandering is what it is. Carragher's a moron. Gary Neville is a bit better with his commentary, but Carragher is just like, oh, I'm a hard man in the bar. I'm going to make fun of Mika Richards and we're going to laugh really loud, but say nothing of any value. And then Titi Henry is just, I don't think anyone is ever as good as Titi Henry. So if you ask me a question, I will answer it in the most condescending way while I stuff a snail down my French gullet. That's it. That's all that the CBS crew is, in my opinion. Some people love them. I don't. I do like Kate Abdo. I think she asks good questions. I think she keeps them, at least to some degree, she keeps them under control. And I think she's very good at conducting discussion. But I think she needs better people than the clowns over at CBS. My opinion. Some people love them, which is totally fine. I'm not saying don't watch them, okay? Watch them if you want. I'm just saying I don't love them. Don't watch these folks, says Vivega. Hey, you can't say that. If you say that, it's a red flag, as per Max Bredos. I prefer the Latino Americans, Alejandro Moreno. I don't love Moreno that much, but I do like Herc and Salazar. Yeah. Hercules Gomez and Sebastian Salazar, I like. No, that's not Jamie's accent, Tom. That's correct. That's Gary Neville's. Jamie Carragher is a Scouser from Liverpool. Tuck in your shirt. I remember. Do you remember that Liverpool documentary? His son scores. Jamie Carragher is going to watch his son in the academy. He's like 10 or 11. And the kid scores a nice goal, like a golazzo, actually. And he turns around, his dad's watching him, and all that Jamie Carragher cares about. Tuck in your shirt. Tuck in your shirt, lad. Tuck in your shirt. I'm like, who gives a fuck if his shirt is tucked in or not? Like, it's just a classic working man scouse mentality. When I was a lad, my dad said, tuck in your shirt. Means you're proper footballer if you're tucking your shirt. Tessman not playing. Better to stay at Venezia. Hard to say. It's early, right? It's early on. Injuries happen. Form drops. He didn't arrive until very, very late in the season. You are a hater, Pete. That is correct, Jesse. Yes, I am. And I just think it's too early to overreact. I think it's a few games in. He arrived literally last day. He didn't have a proper preseason. He was also at the Olympics. There was a lot of up and down drama with the transfer. I just think it's okay to, give him another month or two and let's see how he does, right? You hate too much. No, I hate too little, Jesse. Hate is what keeps you alive. Anybody ever seen Ben-Hur? Old movie with Charlton Heston. Not the new Ben-Hur. The new Ben-Hur is terrible. Oh, God. But the old one is an amazing movie. And there's a line in there I think his number, he was a rower, right? In a Roman ship. He was a slave, one of the rowers. And, the new captain comes on the ship, and he like watches the rowers, and he sees Charlton Heston as Ben-Hur just like rowing. And so he tells the guy to speed up the rowing. They're the guy who's hitting the drums. And he tells him to keep speeding it up until it's like ramming speed. And if you do that for high intensity, like for a long period of time, the rowers wipe out. So one by one, all these rowers are collapsing around him, and he's just there, just rowing, and then he says to him, there's hate in your eyes. That's a good thing. Hate keeps a man alive. So no, I don't hate too much. You take soccer too serious when the U.S. doesn't care. I don't care that they don't care. I care. And so because I care, and I think a lot of people in this chat also care, how are we going to get more people to care? By caring ourselves. And I do not live my life based on what other people care about, right? In this culture, I should go watch American football and basketball and baseball because that's what the people around me. No, I'm going to do what I want. And if you don't care, that's fine. But I care. I care deeply. And I'm never going to stop caring. Let's see. Pete, are you concerned that Javier Aguirre, that's the Mexico coach, will play a very tough style of play, which is just throwing punches and kicks? To be honest, Winelkai, Mexico already plays that way, right? I saw their game against Canada. Mexico will do that against us. Any concerns? No. Honestly, I think they should do that. If I was in charge of Mexico, I would look at the player pool that I have and realize it's not what it used to be. And we need to swallow our pride and stop trying to play attacking soccer against teams that are better than us, which both the US and Canada are. And I would play more conservatively against them and try to make their life difficult. It's about getting results right now. And Mexico does not have the player pool to go toe-to-toe with either Canada or the US right now. So if Javier Aguirre does that, I actually think it's the right call. I think it's the right call. I think Mexico needs to humble themselves and admit they're not what they used to be. The player pool is not what it used to be. And they need to go against both the US and Canada as a little bit underdogs. The way the US used to do against Mexico for years and years and years. I mean, they're just not the same anymore. Now, that's very hard for the fans to swallow and for a lot of people involved with Mexican soccer to swallow because they are used to being so dominant for so long, and they cannot admit to themselves that it just isn't the same anymore. So if I'm Aguirre, that's what I do. I would not at all be surprised or disappointed if he did that. Let's take a look at the poll, guys. Unfortunately, only 111 votes total. 117 votes. It's going up all of a sudden here. 121, but we need 150 yes votes. We don't even have 150 votes total. So maybe another time. Yeah, we're at 128 votes right now. Yeah, 130 votes, but still not close, guys. It's pronounced Aguirre. Aguirre. You're right. Thank you, Greg. You're right. Aguirre. Yes. Spanish pronunciation, not my strong suit. Wait for it. Oh, geez. Okay, we're at 133 votes. And 65% of them are yes. So we're not even at 150 votes total. So I can't. All right, I will do this. If we get to, we're at 135 votes. If you get to 150 votes total, I'm still above 60%, I'll do it. But if the numbers drop and people leave, then I'll just know for next time that it's just not worth doing because everyone leaves. Pete, tell Tack that he jinxed Brazil against Paraguay. Yeah, I guess he did. All right, let's see the votes here. And I'm only going to do this for 15 minutes because I have like 4 auditions to go tape. We're not even at 150 votes yet, guys. And 33% of those are no. So only 2/3 of less than 150 people actually want a show. We're still at 138. Maybe next time let's do a show, guys. Oh, it's 140. I'll give you 1 minute to get it to 150, and then we'll do a show if you guys want to do. Let me go look for the Discord here. But y'all better unmute yourselves. Discord. It's only like 5 people who call. Cast your vote. Go, go, go. Pete, what do you think? I don't know what you're up. Who's Andrew? I don't know about that name. First time watching the show, says Alexi Lalas. Enjoyed it. Even the stuff I disagreed with, good luck. Not sure if that's the real Alexi Lalas, but if it is, welcome. Welcome. Or even if it's not, welcome. Let me see here. We're still at 145. Only 145 votes. Anthony Booker says, I don't want to listen to call-ins where it's all weird people asking mundane questions again. See, that's a fair criticism of the call-in show. That maybe the quality of the call-in show isn't great because of the people that call in, or rather what they have to say. Maybe if you call in, try to make it better points or ask better questions. I don't know. I'm trying to get the Discord working right now, guys. Trying to get it up here. I think we have President Chip, Discord Titan, Discord Czar. What do you mean email or phone number? Dude, I don't remember what my email is. Let's see. I mean, I remember the email. I don't remember the password here. Let's see if this works. Wait, are you human? Yes, I'm human. What? Public, allow access. Log in. Yes, I'm human. Email or phone number. Please check your email. Why is this always so complicated? This is the universe saying we shouldn't do a call-in show, guys. That's what the haps is happening. Someone tried to log. I'll have to verify it, apparently. Pete, we need your Alexi Lalas takes ASAP. I disagree with Lalas about a lot of stuff, but I appreciate his willingness to discuss and debate and his willingness to go, even to disagree with people, but to be able to discuss and debate it. Although a lot of stuff, if you're watching Alexi, I know a lot of stuff you say is just you trying to stir up content and get people to watch you. You're chasing views. That's part of your job over there. I think, some people like it. I don't think it's very effective. Debate Colin Reese once a week on Discord. That won't be a debate. That will be just Colin Reese saying, Pete, you don't know what you're talking about. You're rude, and our players don't pass and move. And Bobby Wood is our number one striker with Leggett as the 10. And, you're bad. All right, here we go. We're in. All right, so we're in. Let's go check call-in show. All right, we hit 152 votes. We'll do a short call-in show, okay? But y'all better stick around and not leave the minute it starts. Interviews for call-in show. I'm gonna put the invite in the chat. I'll pin it. Okay. I'm gonna put it in the chat here. Kevin says, I like the call-in show, but it's not worth your time for that. Well, let's see. Let's see if people stick. Stick around. Where is the invite that I just posted? I need to try to pin the invite. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, stop putting comments in for now. I can't find the invite. All right, there's the pin. There's the invite for anybody who wants to hop in. I won't do this for super long, okay? But let's get it up here. All right, let's see if there's anybody actually in the call-in situation. Oh, that's the chat. All right, we have President Chip waiting. Let's get President Chip. Do you have a question, President Chip? Or should we just do Rascality first? Oh, it is President Chip. My bad. President Chip, what's up?
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Hello? President
Can you
Chip,
hear me, Pete? Oh, there we go. Okay.
what's up? Are you just helping to moderate, or did you have a question?
Yeah. I'll say something. I'll say hi real quick. So I do got some. I got like just a few things to say real quick.
Yeah,
First of all, Pete, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm doing good, man. Finally feels like I'm over the health issues that I've had, so I'm doing good.
That's good. Yeah. No, I actually just got over sickness myself a couple days ago. So yeah,
That time of
it's
year.
nice to finally be over that stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. So basically, not a very good morning for me personally. We just lost 5-1 to Stuttgart. Of course, I'm talking about Dortmund.
Oh
It was
yeah.
a disaster. We just I don't know why Sabitzer is playing. As a winger. I don't know what these guys are doing, but basically the reason why I'm mentioning them is because obviously, and this was a topic of discussion more specifically a couple weeks ago, like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, about Gio Reyna and his future at the club. And I knew from the start all these people saying how our current manager likes him was just complete BS. I don't know where where the information was coming from, but multiple inside just German outlets were just saying like, no, this isn't true. He never said anything about he's gonna start Gio, he's gonna play Gio all the time. This was not the case. We see it now. When he was healthy, he was playing Julian Brandt, which I think is a huge mistake. I think he's a liability, especially when he can't defend. I've never seen this man try to defend in his life. That's just me personally, though. Watching this club, I just think he's a liability.
Yeah.
And I think we'd be much better with Gio. Not just because I'm biased. I'm a biased American. Just because I'm seeing both players play. I would just trust Gio in that midfield, and we would run much better with him instead of what we have now. But
Yeah. So I mean, he's injured. That's the thing. It's kind of a moot point again because
yeah,
he's
but
injured.
this was when he was healthy.
Yeah. No, I get it. I heard that VFL Bochum wanted him in the summer, and Dortmund said no.
Yeah,
That Gio wanted to go. So I'm like, either you rate him or you don't. If you don't rate him, let him go. I think Bochum would have been a good spot for him. He would be a starter for them and play regularly. But right now, you're just destroying his value because you're not playing him, but you're not letting him go. So which one is it? I don't know.
I think they're just. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of congested schedule, like a lot more games, so they want to keep guys like that for depth and just in case there are injuries, which I'm assuming is the case here. That's the only reasonable explanation I've come up with.
Yeah, I
Anyways.
mean, let's see what happens when he gets back. If he gets back and he's still not playing, then maybe a January loan again might be the solution. But a loan to someone that actually wants him and is going to play him, not somebody that his agent has contacts with.
Yeah. And you know what? Before I go, because like I said, I'm gonna keep this short. What is the best, most realistic club he can go to, whether it's on a loan or he's sold, whatever? Which one is that?
Most
Like, what is
realistic.
like the dream? Yeah,
I
best,
think
most realistic.
Mönchengladbach can use firepower. They never really replaced Marcus Thuram. And I think they're missing out on some firepower that I think Gio could give them, attacking firepower. Another option would be Hoffenheim. I think Hoffenheim lost a lot of players, attacking players, and it's showing. And I think they need goals. And plus, you would get to work with Matarazzo, Gladbach. So I think Gladbach or Hoffenheim would be good options for him to stay in the Bundesliga.
I agree. Yeah, exactly. He stays in the Bundesliga, something he's familiar with, and it's a good league. I think the Prem was way too much of a jump. And of course, you
Especially
can
a
never play that much
relegation team on the
before.
Prem. Like that is just never a good
Yeah,
idea.
he was thrown into a dumpster fire.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, Pre. Thanks for having me on, man. And
No
yeah, have a
worries.
good day.
All right. Rascality's been waiting. What's up, Rascality? Is your mic on?
It.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, sweet. I got it this time.
What's your name?
My name's Ryan.
Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Not much. Hold on. Let me close my my YouTube chat because I'm getting echo feedback here. How do I sound?
Yeah, you sound great.
All right, perfect, wonderful. Hopefully I don't take up too much of your time because I've been wanting to call in for a while. I'm a big fan of your channel. I've been watching you since probably 2020. Would you start in the pandemic, right?
Yeah. Middle of June.
Yeah. So
June we started. Yeah.
yeah. So before I go into this, I want to just give a little bit of background of myself so you can get my overall point that I'm trying to make here. I want to talk about not anything specific, but more like the overall state of like the fan base right now and where we're at as fans.
Okay.
So I grew up in a traditional American household. Basketball, baseball, football. That's all my dad cared about. Didn't really care about soccer. Played a little bit running around, but then when I was 10 years old, I had a situation. I like it. You know, when you tell your story of Totti and Inzaghi, and they were talking about it for 3 hours in that cafe.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of my version of that. So I'm a little kid. I walk into this pizza place, and this is the summer of 1994. And there's Italian people in the front serving and Mexican people in the back. Well, turns out this was during the Italy-Mexico World Cup game. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And everybody's freaking out. And I was like, wow, this is like some exciting stuff. So from then on, I became a fan of the USMNT. And I followed everything. 2002, shocked the world. 3 goals in 20 minutes against Portugal. 2010, the last minute goal for Algeria, all of that. Went through all of this. But I never really learned how soccer worked. I was a big fan. I was, as you would put it, like a pom-pom cheerleader kind of a guy. And I just cheered on the team.
Sure.
And then luckily during the pandemic, I found your channel, and it was so awesome to find other USMNT fans. You taught me about soccer. I've been watching soccer for years, but I couldn't tell you what an 8 was or a 10 was, the difference between a wing back and an inverted winger. I didn't know all of that. But you taught me that by looking at, you know, all your green screens and your stats, even with the little mistakes and everything. So the point that I'm trying to come into is that when Berhalter got rehired, there was a massive shift in tone. One of the things I liked watching you for was you were really good at critiquing things, but you were also great at giving context and being fair and being like, all right, well, when I'm wrong, I'm going to take a step back from this. Once Berhalter got hired, the entire vibe changed. And I don't blame you, Pete. That man wasted 6 years of our time as USMNT fans. But I really don't like the fact that that anger has like poisoned the fan base. Like, we got to like let go of that rage. Like, he's gone. Like, I get it, but like, we have Pochettino now. We have people who are going to turn their heads towards the USMNT. We have people who are going to now start paying attention, and we need to get that negativity and get it out of here and stop being like, well, this person's a real fan because they understand this, or this person just like waves the pom-poms and the cheerleaders. Like,
So,
bro,
Ryan,
like I watched you get so mad at people on X that you attacked like our own players just to spite some like
our
15-year-old kid
players
with
need to be
cheeseburger
attacked
on his
more,
face.
to be honest, Ryan. So
No. There's a difference between attacking and criticism, bro. Like, you
So-
don't have to cross that line.
so what line do you think I crossed?
I mean, I don't know. At times, just I don't know, like the way you like start attacking Berhalter personally with the past.
He,
Like
well,
you'll be up on one
Did
player, then you'll make a shot at another player.
hang on, Ryan. First of all, let's start with
Yo.
when the negativity started. The negativity started with Koeman.
Yeah.
Okay. The negativity started with failing to qualify for the World Cup, which was a huge disaster.
Mhm.
Then the
Which
second,
was fair.
right? That's fair. The second thing that happened was they hired a guy who was completely unqualified for the job, and that was apparent for 4 years. And then on top of that, they went and rehired him. Okay. He just got fired 2 months ago. Let's be honest, right? This is barely fresh news after 6 years of being gaslighted. The most recent, situation was that our players couldn't get enough up for a friendly camp. They didn't have the balls or the cojones to go out there and put in good showings against Canada and New Zealand, which you're right. There's no Berhalter there. So who's going to get criticized for that? The players. It's like you could say we need to stop all the negativity, but the players need to this team needs to give us something to be positive about because they really haven't in a long time. So I'm going to continue to. In fact, I think it's ironic because a lot of other people say, Pete, you're not harsh enough on the players, and you are always blaming Berhalter, right? And maybe they have a point, to be honest. I think the players do need more accountability. And I think certainly the way that they show up mentally for this team is not okay. And I think it deserves criticism. So if you want to call it attacking them, that's fine. But I think they're very worthy of the criticism that they're getting right now.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, Pete, I don't disagree with that one bit. I just really worry that, like I don't like the division that this whole Berhalter saga has caused with the fan base and the way that like we're turning on each other. Like I went from being one of those like cheerlead, waving pom poms, let's go, to now that I understand the game and I understand things going on better, I kind of see it from both sides. Like I see the people who want to get in the weeds and just like hype up their team on X or whatever, and then I get the other people like you come along who like study soccer, watches soccer, and gets into it. I think I'm coming from like a fan perspective first, and then like a tactical perspective later.
Yeah.
It's been really interesting to like understand it, because even though I don't have the technical skill, now I have the technical understanding, but I'm able to apply 20 years of watching soccer to it and come up with, my own view and way of looking at the game. But I just, like I said, Pete, I've been a big fan of yours. This is something that concerns me. I just wanted to call and put my voice out there.
So
I don't think you should stop criticizing.
Yeah,
I don't think you should stop saying what it is that you need to say. But I just like worry about it because, like I said, I've watched you for years, and it went from this place of being honest and critical to the point where at times you could just get kind of nasty. And with 2026 coming up, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to come on YouTube and start looking at your channel. And I think, honestly, this is just a criticism of the channel. I think if you found a way to just kind of refocus and be critical without being so just, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say, Pete.
Right. So, I mean, I think everybody's going to have a different opinion about the channel and how I present myself and how I criticize. And, I've always found that trying to change or be somebody else because of a comment or something somebody says doesn't really work. I have to be authentically me. I am extremely frustrated with the, people who run the game in this country because they are actively holding it back and continue to do so.
Bro, me too. Preach, real, me too.
It becomes a point where either I quit completely and don't cover the game anymore, or I vent out my frustrations on my channel, which I'm going to do. And, Pochettino is a huge positive. And I'm sure as Pochettino comes in and works with the players, and as we improve, a lot of the negativity that you're worried about will probably dissipate. But whether or not I've said anything that is either nasty or crossing a line, I'm going to say is pretty subjective. So while you might feel that way, and that's totally fair, somebody else might be like, no, Pete didn't go far enough. And so I kind of just have to be me and be authentic as much as possible and not to worry too much about, what other people think, because then I'm being inauthentic or I'm editing myself in order to satisfy an audience. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. But as somebody who's been listening to you for years, there's been a pretty clear demarcation between pre-Triple G rehire and post-Triple G rehire, Pete.
Yeah, I would worry that a lot of that negativity totally
is
warranted, though. Like, it didn't come out of a vacuum. That came out of U.S. soccer.
No, it didn't.
Fans, go fuck yourself. And the worst summer we've had since Cuba, by the way. This isn't coming out of just like a vacuum. This is coming out of like failure of massive proportions.
Yeah. I'm just concerned because while that, believe me, like I said, he wasted 6 of our years. I agree with just about most of the points that you make.
Yeah.
The federation's corrupt. It's all an old boys club, goes all the way down to the youth level where you have these kids who, they don't have the money, so they can't get seen because you got these, greedy guys out there who want to get finder's fees or whatever it is. The whole system is just screwed up. And I agree with you on a point to that. Moving forward to 2026, because the thing is that anger that we have towards the federation, that doesn't go back at the federation. That goes outwards towards our fellow fans and stuff. So,
well, it goes towards the federation because trust me, the federation is very mad about my channel and Tax channel, and they've told us as much. So yeah.
Well, that's not hard to do. The federation's really weak. Yeah. But which I appreciate you guys do that. So again, I know you got things I got to do. I appreciate you giving me this platform to speak and, come up with my concerns. Hopefully in the future, I can give you a call. We can chop it about some other things. I have some other stuff that I want to bring up, but I feel like I've stayed
Yeah.
on here for a while, and I want to give anybody else his space. And I appreciate you listening, Pete. Thank you so much.
No worries, man. Thanks for your point of view, and I'll, take it on board like I do with everything else.
Appreciate you, Pete. Yeah,
I
have a good
will
one.
say before you go, I think things will get better as like Pochettino. This team under Pochettino should give us more reasons for positivity. So I think if you're looking for that,
For sure.
You should see more of that. But it has to come from somewhere. I'm not just going to be positive for the sake of positivity.
No, and I wouldn't expect you to be. I'm just, a fan who's calling in to have a good discussion. I appreciate you, Pete.
Thanks, Ryan. You have a good one.
Good luck with your auditions.
Thanks, bro. Hey, Tack, if you want to hop in on these, you're more than welcome to. Awesome Reach 94. What's up? Uh-oh. Do we have a muter? Awesome Reach, you're on mute. You got to unmute. Otherwise, I'll bring in VZ Caracas. Ah, shit. We got our first muter, guys. This is why people don't watch the show. All right, we'll give Awesome Reach a break, and we'll get VZ Caracas in here. VZ Caracas, you're on the air. You got to unmute, though. Y'all, if you're in the waiting room, be ready, because you can come in at any point, and so you have to keep yourself unmuted. This is why we don't do call-in shows. But at least it's entertaining. Caracas, you there? Nope. All right, let's try Awesome Reach one more time. All right, guys. Awesome Reach, you there? Awesome Reach. I tried, man, but it wasn't well. This is Awesome Reach 94, so it's not working. All right. So you guys, this is why we don't do. I'm going to give VZ Caracas one more shot, and then if he doesn't unmute, we'll just end it here.
So if he's not unmuted, the other guy is ready. He's unmuted.
Oh wait, who's unmuted?
This guy right here. He said he was ready, and if he's not, I'd look really stupid.
Who? VZ Caracas 19?
Yeah, he jumped into the waiting room and said, "Yo, Chip, let me back in."
Yeah, he's here. He's here. He just has to unmute.
Yeah. VZ, come on, man. Don't make me look stupid. Please.
Anthony Booker saying, "Hey, Pete, can we just call on your phone?" No, I really don't want my phone number to be public, so you can't call on my phone. All right. Well, we don't have anything from VZ Caracas here. We do have one more from Doshero. So let's try him. And if not, we'll just end we're going to end the show. Doshero, you there?
Hello.
There we go. We got one. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, I was watching the stream and nobody was talking.
No worries. No worries. What's your name?
Yeah. My name's Chris. I was on here a few months ago. You probably don't remember me though.
What's up, Chris?
Not much, just some stress from NFL Sunday, but that's a different subject.
Oh yeah. I have enough stress watching USMNT abroad on the weekend. I don't need to add more.
Yes, let alone me having to watch both USMNT and the NFL. Like, no, it's too much. Somehow I'm still live though.
No worries. So what's your soccer question or talking point?
I guess to start we can talk about the goalkeeping situation, because that's obviously a huge issue right now within the team. Like, I was personally, ever since the World Cup, I was all in for Turner. I wanted him to be the goalkeeper, but in the past year, he's really, really dipped. Like, that's I'm starting to lose that faith that I once had in him.
Yeah,
never thought I would see the day, but look, he got a loan to Crystal Palace. He went from backup to one team, and then he went on loan to a club he's not even gonna play for either, except maybe a few cup games.
Yeah,
like, that's not really that much better. So
yeah, he hasn't. I mean, look, the problem with Turner is he was never that great of a keeper, to be honest. This is a guy who didn't actually start playing soccer until he was 16 years old. So we're talking about 10
his
years.
Shot stopping.
Yeah, I mean, he had some good shots.
I don't question, but his distribution, we all know that's his issue. Like,
yeah,
I don't
distribution
think
is poor. To be fair, he had a decent World Cup. I just don't think he's
Yeah.
ever been or will ever be an elite keeper. I don't think you can be if you start playing at 16 years old. You're talking about 10 years of development missed, right? But like Zach Steffen, it was very much tied to his confidence, right? And neither of them could really play with their feet. But when you ask them to do something they're not good at, then it's going to you're going to fail at it, and it's going to affect your confidence. When it affects your confidence, now the things that you're normally good at also get affected. So going to Man City and Arsenal didn't actually improve them with their feet. It just made them realize they're so bad with their feet that they're being asked to do something they're not good at, which if you're not mentally strong can really mess you up. And goalkeepers, like strikers, are confidence machines. They need confidence to play well.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so it kind of, both of them went to these clubs that really weren't that good for their development. Because at 26 years old, you're not going to learn to play with your feet. You're just not, you know. But beyond Turner, I mean, I don't see anybody outside of Diego Coach, and none of our guys can play with their feet. Horvath can't. Steffen can't, right? Gaga can't. Schulte sort of can, but even then, it's limited.
Yeah, we don't have that many options. Like Slonina, you said it yourself, he hasn't really been that great. And
No.
Cochin he's super young, so it's not really ideal right now to throw him into the starting reins, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, I mean, he's also injured now, which is interesting because isn't Ter Stegen out for the season? I think he's out for like 8 months. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. I don't think they're going to start Cochin, but does he become a bench warmer for them? We'll see.
I don't know. I don't know if they would start a teenager at Barca like so soon.
Oh, I doubt they'll start him, but does it bump him? To be honest, I'd almost rather he stay and play regularly in the, with the youth team instead of just sit on the bench.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, the only one that's really playing consistently and doing okay is Schulte, but like, again, look at the league he plays in, it's not that good.
Also, he wasn't like, he had good moments during the Olympics and also some not great ones. And, the same against New Zealand. So even Schulte, although he's probably our best option right now, isn't exactly inspiring me with confidence either, Yeah,
it's really tough. This is really something that needs to be figured out before 2026. So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Poch handles it.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I'd have to let you go because we got a couple people waiting. But thanks for calling in, Chris.
All right, later.
All right, have a good one. Poch para President. Welcome.
Hello, how you doing?
Hey, what's your name?
My name's actually the ATL guy. I've been on here a few times.
Okay. What's up, man? How you doing?
Do you feel like there's been a shift of tone since the Pochettino press conference from the players?
A shift in tone? No, not really.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Why? What do you mean by a shift in tone?
I feel like certain players have kind of like stepped up for their clubs a little bit. Because we kind of had a lackluster like last month. It kind of now feels like, all right, now I got to start performing. Or, Poch to call me in.
Maybe. I think, they did the press conference and then really the weekend back was quite poor, but largely because of the international break.
Yeah.
This is the first week that they've been training with their club since the international break. Pulisic picked up where he left off. McKennie got a little bit lucky, but because of some injuries, he got to play. And Balogun scored a nice goal today. I don't know if they were just like, oh my God, we got Pochettino, so now I have to play better. Or if it was just coincidence, right? Like they could also be shit next week. Let's just see, But hopefully, hopefully it's motivating players for sure. I hope you're right.
Yeah, I think it would. Because now you're no longer a favorite. You got to prove yourself now.
Yeah, but, usually that's when a new manager comes in, people up their game a bit.
Yeah, because just watching the press conference, there was an immediate shift in how the press conference felt. It was like This is the first press conference I've actually wanted to watch
Yeah.
and just hear what he had to say.
Yeah.
Like, I guess the aura of Pochettino was entertaining.
Yeah, the aura and the experience that he brings to the table, and for him to come in and not try to dampen expectations, right? To come in and say our goal should be to win the World Cup. Like that's such an American thing to say. It's completely unrealistic and it's not going to happen. Certainly not in 2026, but to bring that mentality of why should we not make that our goal, right? Shoot for the stars, you hit the ceiling. That's a very American sort of way of being. And I think that instantly resounded with the fan base.
Mm-hmm. And I hope it resounds with the players, at least
I hope
some
so
of
too.
them.
I hope so too. I guess we'll find out somewhat in October, right? Winning in Mexico, which we haven't done in 10 plus years, would be a great start,
Yeah.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
Awesome. All right, man. Well, thanks for calling.
Yep, thank you.
Have a good one. Harrison, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. I'm doing good. What's your name? Harrison?
Good. Yeah, I'm Harrison.
All right, man. What's up?
So I had two quick questions. The
Mhm.
first one, what happened to Eric Palmer Brown? Because I remember hearing his name all the time, and then he left for Panathinaikos and just disappeared off the
He
face of
got
the earth.
injured for a long time. He was injured for most of last season, and now he's back playing for Panathinaikos. But I mean, if you're playing in the Greek league, I don't know if he can really be considered for the national team.
Yeah, I mean how old is he? 26.
26, 27, yeah, entering his prime,
So
right?
no chance, no chance
Yeah.
now. The other thing, and I was telling this to some of my friends, but I still think that the U.S. has the most talented group of players. But if you look at it compared to some of the actual best teams in the world, which I don't think we can compare. We have, one player in each position that's maybe playing at a top team. But, all these other teams have the luxury of seeing which of those players can play best together.
Yeah.
So maybe it's more of a reflection on Greg, but he put all of these players together and was so insistent on playing one way that I don't think fit the players, wanting to play out of the back, wanting to play possession ball. And historically, we've always been counterattacking physical team. And I still think that that's probably the best way for the U.S. to play. Even now, the players we have with Reyna and Balogun and Pulisic are just players that can play better on the counter and not players who are so focused on building from the back. Because even if we have center backs who are Premier League level center backs, Tim Ream not anymore, but Chris Richards, Tim Ream 2022 World Cup, they're not necessarily the best at that.
Yeah.
So why try to make them do that?
Yeah, it's a tough one because I think you have to be flexible. Like you're right. Against maybe the top 8 teams in the world, we should be a counterattacking team. Or I would say at least a more direct team. So whether you bunker or you set a mid block defensively or you set up a high press, when you get the ball, can we be more direct and catch teams out of shape? When, because that's really a crucial moment is when you win possession of the ball, immediately the opponent is in an attacking shape. Right. So when you win it, you can catch them off guard and you need to be direct. Whereas too often with Greg, you're like, oh, we won the ball. Now let's try to slowly and methodically build possession and allow the team to reset their defensive shape. And now we couldn't break them down because also we weren't playing with the 10 to help break them down. So, yeah, I agree with you. But that being said, against, lower teams the same level as us or worse than us in terms of player quality, we should have the ball and we should want to be the protagonist. So I think we have to adjust how we play depending on the opponent.
Yeah, that's true. I said this a while ago, and this was before Greg got fired, but because of how little effort it looked like some of the players had or were giving, I was wondering whether there were any MLS level players who you could include in a roster just to push everyone else because everyone else felt so complacent and comfortable that they were going to start no matter what. And they were also in the system that I didn't think was working. So I felt that maybe you bring an MLS guy, they might not be, they're definitely not better technically. I didn't think, or even overall. But if you play in a more physical game, they might, ideally, both, no matter how physical the game, whether you're in Europe or whether you're in MLS, you should be able to show that same physicality. But because the players weren't giving that effort, I wondered if bringing an MLS guy would change that.
So which MLS guy would you bring in, and who would you bring him in for?
Well, so I don't know 100% because I'm not. I mean, personally, I'm not a huge MLS fan. But I know there are guys that I've heard other people say who could potentially come in, not necessarily start, but at least push the other guys and show them that they can't be so comfortable.
I mean, the problem is we had that for years and it didn't work, right? Like we were full of, and Greg's first cycle, there was endless MLSers. And some
Right.
of that was due to the player pool, but some of that was due to Greg's preference for them. And some of our worst games were the one where we played all these MLSers, and like, I think it's sort of recency bias. People go, oh, it's not working. Let's go back to the MLSers. And they forget that for 4 years, a lot of the MLSers looked like shit. So I don't really buy into this idea that we need more MLSers on the team. What we need is a team mentality that is significantly improved. Because usually when I ask people, who would you take out of the team and which MLSer would you replace them with? It's not really much of an answer. I mean, you could maybe make a case for one of the center backs, like maybe a Miles or a Walker, but we've seen them, right? Walker's very good in
Yeah,
the
I mean,
air. But other than
yeah, I mean, I
that,
was mostly thinking
huh?
back line. I was mostly thinking someone for the back line, maybe on a right back, left back, or center back, or even a keeper. But because up top, if you lack the technical quality, there's only so much you can do. But I think more so in the back line is where you could maybe push someone. But, also someone like Roldan, who was constantly being brought. I don't think he brought anything. He
Yeah.
wasn't even top 20 in MLS for American guys. So I
Right.
mean, I think there's at least maybe some people who at least are younger in MLS, like a Jalen Neal, who could push some people,
Yeah, I
or
like
someone
Jalen
like
Neal. The
Walker Zimmerman.
problem with Jalen is that he's been defensively quite poor the last few games, even in MLS. So it's like, do we think he's going to push Chris Richards? I like Jalen Neal on the ball, and I'm hoping he can develop into a very good center back, but he's not even really performing in MLS at times. So it's hard to
Yeah,
I watch these guys every weekend. I try to keep track of them.
right, right.
I don't really see anybody who can push. I mean, Walker Zimmerman, if you're facing a team that's like playing all aerial balls, then maybe you could make a case for Walker, but it's all like risk versus reward, because then he gets beat in isolation too much and he can't pass out of the back. So it's like, again, when I don't think there's any MLSer that you can call up right now that is going to really push any of the guys we have because of the gap in quality, That's
Well, I guess it doesn't necessarily need to be an MLS guy, but someone like a Marlon Fossey, who to be fair, I haven't really seen play, but I thought just the effort he gave
yeah.
was pretty telling. And again, I know it was only against New Zealand, so it's not like
No, but
if he looks technically good, he might not be good on the ball, but
right. I
just
mean, I
that
think
effort.
he did enough to earn another call up with Serginho Dest out, So yeah, I can see
Right.
that.
All right, that's everything I had to ask.
No worries, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no problem. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're going to give VC Caracas one last chance here. VZ Caracas, can you unmute yourself?
Hello?
There we go.
Hey, Pete, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Now, first of all, I just wanted to say I really apologize for being too slow. This is my first time using Discord, so please beg for me on that one. I really apologize to you and all the people in the chat.
No
I just
worries.
want to say I'm sorry. It's my first time using Discord, and usually I'm not like that. I'm usually a very quick learner, but man, this Discord
No, you're good, man.
got
You're
me
good.
nuts. Like, I'm so sorry.
No worries. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I've been following you guys since I believe 2021
Okay.
after COVID, and I think I saw Tax channel first, and then when you join in on his YouTube channel, I mean starting to watch your channel as well. And when I saw your videos, your live streaming, I'm like, I like this guy's critique towards the national team and towards the coaching staff and towards the U.S. Soccer Federation that I still have my issues to this day. So yeah, by the way, Basic Caracas is just my PlayStation and network. I just use this for, I don't know why. I forgot to change it, but hey.
What's your name?
Yeah, so I'm Winelke Gonzalez, if you don't know who I am.
You're Winelka.
And
Yeah.
I was born in California, and my parents are from Venezuela. just like Tag, I had two teams to support: Venezuela and the United States.
Right.
And I have a funny story. When I was on a concert with my family, and when I saw that grabber holder was, or AK as I like to call him, that Punk Baldy Lex Luthor, or AK, I don't know, Soccer Voldemort, was announced, my mom looked at my face like emotionless, and she said, "Hijo, what was wrong?" And I said, "Mama, I think my night is ruined. I
Oh
think I'm
no.
depressed."
Oh man, was
But
that when
anyways,
they hired him the second time?
yeah, that's when they hired the second time, and I was depressed.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was a rough one. They announced it right at the Mexico game, right at kickoff.
Yeah,
That was somehow
I
going to
remember.
fly
I
under
remember
the
the
radar.
name. Sorry, that game right after kickoff. But at least we managed to beat them with the GOAT BJ Callahan, who unfortunately joined Nashville, and I was hoping maybe he will. I know San Diego did not exist during that time, but man, I'm also very depressed that not only we will get Robert Halter's student, Mikey Barras, we're also gonna get Chucky Lozano. I'm like, is my night getting? Is my years getting worse? Because just like you, Pete, when it comes to Chicago, I'm a huge San Diego Patriot. I was born in California. I think in La Jolla, which is, I don't know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes away from San Diego. And well, I gotta support San Diego, but nevertheless, for not making this call-in show too long, because also I want to give more other people the chance to talk to you. Yeah, I just wanted to say that I just wanted to say that I'm usually one of those fans that likes to sneak into the L3 media, which is ESPN Deportes. And fun fact, I live in the same city as Tech in Tampa, Florida. So if I had the chance to meet him, I'll be like, dude, please hire me as your U.S. men's national team tag agent. Sorry, not agent, as spy, so I can spy our rivals, and then later gave him the tools. Oh, okay, so this is what Mexico is gonna do. This is what Mexico is gonna do here and that. Because the topic that I really want to talk to you right now is, I watched the Canada game versus L3, and man, the way Javier Aguirre was playing was so dirty, and I was thinking, I don't want to wish no one gets injured, but I'm kind of scared a little bit that one of our players, including Gio Reyna, if he gonna come back towards the October camp. Not only him, I'm thinking some of our key players like Christian Pulisic might get injured. So, do you have any tactics other than, guys, let's not throw out players out there against a team that is pretty much a boxing team? Because for me, that's how Mexico should be a powerhouse, with all due respect.
Yeah. So
do you have any ideas?
Yeah. Usually if an opponent is being that way with you, you have to be that way with them. And you have to make it very clear that that's not okay. You need to get revenge tackles in. And there are ways to do it that you don't get sent off, and there's ways to do it when the referee is turning its back, but you have to make, to quote Jesse Marsh, they have to feel you. If you let them get away with all of those tackles, and this speaks to the team mentality, right? If somebody goes in hard on Gio Reyna, usually the sign of a strong group mentality is somebody else gets a revenge tackle on the guy who did it, right? And or confronts him early on and is like, that's not okay. So you have to kind of match that energy while still maintaining control. It's not easy to do because you have to still be in control mentally, but you have to, make sure that they know it's not okay to do those things. That's the best way to handle that. But really the best way to handle that is to win, and to score goals on them. But yeah, you need to match the energy to a degree while still remaining in control.
Okay, so it's basically just acting like, well, I'm hoping, because this is something that, yes, I know I'm comparing the United States with Venezuela, but just one thing that Venezuela has is that dog mentality, which is, we're playing CONMEBOL, so it's the hardest qualifiers in the whole world. And we might be worse than some teams like Argentina, Uruguay, Brazil, or maybe Colombia, Ecuador, but we're gonna make their lives a living hell, because that's what I really love about the Venezuelan national team. They have grit.
Yeah.
They will grind down results. They will sweat that t-shirt for the national team.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping to see the U.S. men's national team do that in Guadalajara in, I believe, October. I could be wrong. October 15, if I'm not mistaken.
I think we play Panama on the 10th. Let me double check here. We play Panama on the 12th, and then Mexico is on the 15th.
All right. So I got it right there. Yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to say that I was starting to feel a little bit concerned that one of our players might get injured during that game in Guadalajara. But hearing from your words and from Tag's point of view as well, I mean, I know he did not make a video about the U.S. men's national team facing Mexico away, but those words that you just gave it to me today gives me hope, and not only hope, but also like, yeah, we're not gonna let Mexico, even though they're at the worst stage in their history, we can bounce back and we can show them like who is the real kings of CONCACAF. Because I know there are some Canadians who will keep saying, not only the Canadians, the Mexican media too, aka ESPN Deportes. Canada is the new kings of CONCACAF. They are having amazing. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, they're having amazing performance. But listen, we had the best so far on paper, the best talent generation that we ever had. But what we have an issue with the team is mentality.
Yeah.
And once I saw the kickoff, I want to see that team with zero remorse. Because I may not like Argentina as a national team, but it is one thing that I admire about them is that they have zero remorse mentality.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to see on this U.S. men's national team. And I hope that Pochettino puts an iron fist in the locker room and saying, guys, I'm here in charge. You're going to listen to me, and I'm going to choose who's going to play. If you got a problem, there's the door.
Yeah.
I'll see you in the next camp. And that's what I want to see with Pochettino.
Absolutely. And I think we will. All right, guys. I'm going to end this here because I got to get going. It's been more than an hour and a half. So that's a great way to end it. Great inspiring words from Winelkai there. Thanks for calling in. Thanks to everybody who participated. Smash that like button before you go, and have a great rest of your Sunday. I'll talk to you all soon.
All right. Thank you, Pete.
Sorry, 2 more super chats real quick here. Do you think Arnie Chase will play for the USMNT? Julian, no, because he would have to give up his Japanese citizenship. Also, Kobe Henry was a sub yesterday for Rennes. Yes, yesterday, and also I believe the game before. He was also a sub. So somebody to keep an eye on. Eldin Hasic, probably with a response to the previous assertion that we should bring in more MLSers. MLS guys went 0 for 7 in Olympics versus France and Morocco. Yeah, and even the Gold Cup in 2021? No, 2023. I'm sorry. The Gold Cup in 2023, that was mostly MLSers too, and they couldn't even beat Panama. So just a reminder that we can't just let recency bias affect how we feel about overall quality. All right. Great one, guys. Have a good one. Talk to y'all soon.